Hello everyone and welcome to the UCL Matchday 2 deadline stream. Sorry about the couple of issues that we did have with the stream earlier. Hopefully it's all good now. But as discussed today, we're going to be having a look at our team where we've activated the Limitless chip. And of course we'll be answering all your guys' questions in the build up to Matchday 2, which is around 2.5 hours away, the deadline I believe, or 3.5 hours away roughly. But it is good just to get a good stream in before the match day to answer as many of your guys' questions as possible to make sure all your teams are set up well for the next match day. Personally, I do think using that Limitless chip in match day 2 is the best strategy, because then you can wildcard in match day 3, and then that sort of sets you up for the rest of the group stage, where you do get unlimited transfers after the group stage ends in match day 6. For me personally, I do think this is the best strategy for maximising points in Champions League Fantasy, as although it may seem a little bit aggressive, it's probably worthwhile just because you do get essentially a second wildcard later on, so you might as well get aggressive early in the group stage. And from just playing and past experience in the last 2 or 3 seasons of playing UCL Fantasy now, I've found that does tend to be the best strategy. So here is the Limitless team that we have used. As you guys can see here, it's a pretty stacked squad. The main points here is that there's triple PSG, triple Man City, and also have gone with triple Real Madrid as well. Manish, good to see you, mate. Was KDB a good option for Limitless? I think so, yeah, just because everyone's got a good rest now after the somewhat extended break, especially in the Premier League. The players have been well rested with the obviously passing of the Queen, so I do think most Premier League teams should be playing their maximum strength squad, which of course would see Kevin De Bruyne play, and he did play in the last Champions League game as well. Faz, team looks good, thanks. Yeah, solid side, I do like it. I think this is a pretty strong Limitless team. The only things I'm thinking about changing is maybe going Sane to Son, because if we'll just filter it by fixtures here, Sane does have Barcelona at home, but I'm not sure if Barca are the real deal or not. And playing at home, I do fancy them to score a few goals, and Leroy Sane is getting very involved for them right now. And yeah, he got himself, I believe, 14 points in the first match day. Something around there. Yeah, 14 points. He got like a goal and an assist, I believe. Yeah, that's right. And then play of the match as well. And he was very impressive in the last Champions League campaign. I was a bit concerned whether he was going to keep up the output without Lewandowski, but seems to be it's all good there. Currently, he is on our captaincy as well, which is another thing that we have to discuss about who we think we're going to put the captaincy on, because there is a couple of good players playing on the first day. If we filter it by the first date, just a quick reminder, any players playing on the first day, you can substitute them out mid-game week for a player playing on the second day. So that's why it's key to have all the players playing on the second day of the midweek matches, to have them on your bench, so then you can always bring them on. As you can see here, the players playing on the 14th for us, it's Leroy Sane, Salah, Perisic, Trent, and Onana. I'm not going to captain a keeper. I was thinking about maybe doing Perisic because he could chip in with an assist, and I do like the Tottenham defence for their fixture against Sporting. Otherwise, Trent, I'm not too sure about Liverpool's defensive capabilities right now. Ajax might score in this one. Salah, also a very good captaincy contender at Anfield, but his form hasn't been amazing in the Premier League recently, so I'm a bit off him. So for now, I'm basing it on form. I really like Leroy Sane, and I think Barcelona at home is actually a decent fixture. Messi over Neymar, I can see a couple of people going for that, but Neymar's score involvements in the league would have been incredible so far this season. I believe he's got 15 score involvements already in just 7 games in the Ligue 1, which is the highest out of any PSG player. And then Mbappe's got himself 7 goals in 6 games. So both those two players have been firing So yeah, I really like Neymar. Personally, I think he's a slightly better option than Messi. Who to captain, Neymar and Mbappe? Yeah, just to answer that one from unknown, I would captain a player playing on the first day. You can also change your captaincy as well as make substitutions after the players have played on the first day. So for example, you can see here on my bench you got Vinicius Jr. Say, Sane blanks, gets a couple points. I can bring on Vinicius as a substitute and then also captain Vinicius. And then the points from Sane's captaincy go away, and then I get those extra points for Vinicius, just double it up like normal. So I'd probably, if either one of your players that blanks on the first day that you had on captaincy, it's tough to say between Mbappe and Neymar. I might just go Neymar, just because he's had slightly better form than Mbappe in the Ligue 1, but both very, very good options, and they both should do well. Faz, Sane's been good so far, so I keep him. Yeah, I agree. He's been quality. Zielinski from Napoli or Sterling? I'd probably go for Sterling. I think Sterling's got a great fixture. It's Salzburg at home, and then just quickly having a look at Napoli's fixtures. Scroll down here. Rangers away, which is definitely not a bad one. I think Sterling does have more attacking threat, though. He's always arriving at the back post for Chelsea. We've seen him do it so often. Son is dog water. Yeah, he's not made a great start to this season, to be fair. But yeah, he's a potential one to have in the team at Sporting. But I'm leaning towards Leroy Sané, and that's why I've gone with him. Clifton, do you think I should still use my limitless chip? I've already taken a -8 and used my 2 free transfers. Yeah, you might as well. Yeah, if you use your limitless chip, then it will cancel out any previous hits that you've taken. So instead of taking a -8, all those transfers will be free now. So yeah, I'll probably use the limitless chip still. I think that's still a good idea. It's pretty much exactly like a wildcard in FPL. Even if you take a -20 point hit before playing the wildcard, all those hits do get removed. Why is it the 14th and mine? It says 13th or 14th. Yeah, because we're in Australia, so the times are different. It's the first game's at 2:45 a.m. on the 14th for us, whereas in Europe it'll be like night time on the 13th or afternoon on the 13th. That's just because of time zones. Why Trent? He's been shitty. Yeah, I can see the frustration with him. He's got, Ajax at home is not the worst fixture. As far as all the best defensive assets go, I still think Trent, it's got to be in and around there. He's always offering good attacking potential. I know he's not the best defensively, but the attacking potential is always there. So I'm hoping at home at Anfield he can produce something good, and hopefully Liverpool come good after a very poor start to the season for them. Can Kimmich remain in my midfield? Yeah, if you're looking on a limitless, Kimmich is not a bad option. I believe he got himself an assist and a couple of bonus points as well in the first week, but I'd probably look to other players if you're on a limitless. Should changing Kunku for Sane or to someone else with less money to afford a better keeper? I have Perrin and Gridic. I'll just Juventus have Benfica at home. I'd be happy to keep Perrin. Be happy to keep him, that's for sure. Otherwise, should changing Kunku for Sane. And Kunku's still a good pick. I don't think his fixture's as good this week from memory. Yeah, it's a tough one. It is a tough one this week. So potentially you could bring in Sane. I really like Sane so far. I'll have a look at his stats in the Bundesliga as well really quickly, see how he started the season. But I know in the Champions League he does very well, and he did really well last season actually in the Champions League. Yeah, so far in his first 6 games, he's got himself 2 goals, 1 assist in the Bundesliga, which is not too bad. 3 scoring involvements. Dumfries for Eder Militao. Yeah, Dumfries are also a good pick. We've got Onana to capitalise on the Inter Milan defence. They've got a great fixture actually. Victoria Pleasant, I'm not sure how to say that, but I'm just going to call him Victoria. A good fixture for Inter Milan, should get a clean sheet. So whether you go Dumfries or Onana or another defender for them, I think at least having one defensive option for them this week is definitely good on the limitless. definitely one defence that's worth targeting, even if you just have the one player from that defence. Probably a good decision. Are you from South Africa? No, we're from Australia. I actually get a lot that people say we're from South Africa. I don't think the South African accent and Australian accent sounds similar at all. I think the South African accent and New Zealand accent kind of sounds similar, but not Australia. Back on Trent again. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the defender options, there's Grimaldo, who's got Juventus, not a great fixture. Silla from Club Brugge, got Porto, it's a tough one. Jacques Ansel, I think, is almost essential against Dortmund. You could go for a double up on Man City if you wanted to go for Ruben Diaz as well, but we've already got triple Man City. I'm not going for Guerrero. Otherwise, other good defences worth targeting. We could go for a double up on Tottenham maybe, or of course we could go for Dumfries over Trent if we wanted to go double up on Inter, but maybe slightly risking for a double up there in Inter, and of course we know Trent's got good attacking potential. Leverkusen and Atletico, I probably wouldn't go for a defenderless one. Neither for Bayern and Barcelona. I think there could be goals for each team in this game. Marseille, Frankfurt, it's hard to say from a defensive standpoint. Could maybe go for a Porto defender at home to Club Brugge, but there is still the potential for a goal to be conceded in that one. Otherwise, Milan, Dinamo Zagreb, I think going for a Milan defender could be good as well. Except there is a slight issue with a lot of players playing on the second day if we do go for a Milan defender. Potentially Napoli defender. Chelsea defender is another one to consider at home to Salzburg. We do have a double up on Real Madrid defence right now with Leipzig because Carvajal has been very good for Real Madrid this season. Juventus Benfica, it's a tough one to call. Potentially a Sevilla defender against Copenhagen maybe. Otherwise, Man City defence is looking good. But yeah, Carvajal has been very impressive. Got an assist in his first Champions League game and also got himself an assist in the La Liga in his most recent game as well. And that was actually off the bench, I believe, for Real Madrid. So he was benched in his most recent La Liga game, which probably means he's going to start in the Champions League. And he actually came off the bench for an assist there, which is good signs for him. So yeah, I'm really liking him. Hopefully, Real Madrid did get their clean sheet in the first match day. Hopefully they can do it again at match day 2 because we've obviously gone double there. If Onana does get himself a clean sheet though, I probably won't bring on Courtois. I might just bring on Carvajal. Regardless, I think I'm going to bring on Hakimi because he's got Maccabi Haifa and I think he should start in that game and he should get a clean sheet. If PSG concede to Maccabi Haifa, I'll be very surprised. And then Vinicius, always a good pick. He's been good in the La Liga so far this season, getting himself some goals and assists. And he did get himself a goal in the first match of the Champions League. Maybe change Trent for Dumfries. Yeah, definitely one to consider. If we go, so we have a look at it by date. If we changed Trent to Dumfries or even an AC Milan defender that's playing on the second day, that's only Sane, Salah, Perisic or Nana, so 3 outfield players playing on the first day and then the goalkeeper playing on the first day. So pretty much if we do get rid of Sane, Salah and Trent, the whole team is going to be playing on the second day, which doesn't obviously allow us to make many substitutions to prioritise the strength of the team. But yeah, that's something else to consider as well. Who do you reckon is going to win the Champions League and Europa League this season? Champions League, I'm going to go Manchester City for the Champions League. I think their team's looking so good in the Prem this season, and this is one of the strongest Man City sides that's been in recent history, so I think Man City could win the champs. And then Europa, I think Arsenal are looking pretty good right now. Maybe Manchester United as well. I think it'd be between Arsenal and Manchester United for Europa League, is what I'd say. Well, it also depends who drops out of the Champions League and goes to Europa League. But yeah, we could potentially go Trent out, and then I think it's Theo Hernandez could be a good pick. We just go search by clubs and then go AC. Hernandez, 6 mil. Obviously, price doesn't matter. 3 points in the first week. 1 goal conceded to Salzburg. 3 balls recovered, which is good. Got the extra point for that. Dinamo Zagreb at home. You'd probably expect AC to get a clean sheet. We could go Trent out for Hernandez. I probably prefer that move compared to the double up of Inter Milan defense, just because obviously a double up on defenders can be a bit risky if one of the teams doesn't get a clean sheet, and then also considering that we have so few players playing on the first day. If Inter Milan don't get a clean sheet, then that's pretty much 2 bench players that we've had to bring on for the Inter Milan lads, and then we're kind of at the mercy of Sane, Salah and Perisic, because we're going to have to leave at least one of them on the field. So if more than one of them blank, then we're going to have to leave a player that's blanked on the field. Best defender to buy. If you don't have Cancelo, I think Cancelo is probably the best defender to buy. Dortmund at home this week is a great fixture. Otherwise, Perisic should get some good minutes, and Tottenham obviously have a very good group. Sporting, Frankfurt, Marseille, you'd expect them to do pretty well in that go. That's a good group from a clean sheet standpoint for Tottenham. Also Hakimi for PSG. PSG have got a good group. Apart from Juventus, which is the only real tricky fixture, but if you look at the next 4 matches, none of them are against Juventus, so you could go for Hakimi. I think he got himself an assist in the first week. 3 balls recovered, getting the extra point, and then of course he's always got that good clean sheet potential. So I think my top 3 picks would probably be Cancelo, Hakimi, and maybe Perisic as well, considering how easy their groups are. Barca Bayern. What if Barca wins? What then happens to Sane? Well, if Barca win, this doesn't impact Sane really. But if if Sane blanks, we can always sub him out and bring another player on that's playing on the 15th, because you can make substitutions mid-game week. So yeah, not too fast if Sane does blank. But for me, I like him the most out of any of my players playing on the 14th. I think Salah is also a good pick, but I'm not sure about him. Onana, I'm probably not going to captain a goalkeeper. And Perisic against Sporting, it's a good fixture, definitely a good fixture, but if he doesn't get an attacking return and Sporting score, then it's a blank. So I've really liked Sane's positioning. He did look very good against Barcelona. He could have had even more. Did look very good in Matchday 1. He could have had more returns against Inter. I think Theo Hernandez takes pens, so he could be a good option. Interesting. Reece James or Dumfries. I don't have enough players for the 14th. Tough call. If you already got Onana, then I maybe go Reece James. Yeah, maybe go Reece James. If you don't have enough players for the 14th, then I can see why you would want to go for Dumfries. Just depends on who the goalkeeper is. If you got Onana in goals, maybe a double up's not quite worth it. But as you can see here, if we do go for Theo Hernandez in the team instead of Trent, we've only got 3 players playing on the 14th. So it's a tough one, because if all those 3 players return, then that means we're going to have Hakimi. So we've got 4 players playing on the 14th, including Onana. If all of those players return, then that means we're going to have to risk bringing on Hakimi, Carvajal, or Vinicius from the 15th. So maybe we have to change the squad and look for another player from the 14th. It's a very tough balance to try and figure it out. The only thing we could do is maybe double up on into defense. If you look at the best defenses for the first day, I probably don't trust the Porto defense enough. You could go double up on Tottenham, but that's risky away to Sporting. Could go double up on Inter, which is probably... They've definitely got the best fixture from a defensive standpoint. Otherwise, Leverkusen Atletico, I'm not going near that. Bayern Barca, probably not going to go near that. And neither with Marseille Frankfurt. And then the other good option is Liverpool, so you kind of back to Trent. So it pretty much depends on whether you want the double on Inter Milan, double on Tottenham, or Trent. So it's a very tough decision. I think just because of the amount of players that we have playing on the 14th, sorry, I don't mean to get rid of Sterling, we have to go back to Trent. Just kind of annoying, because I know Ajax at home's not a good fixture. We could go for Dumfries as well. Maybe we lean towards Dumfries if we think Ajax is going to score. What do I think about Rodrigo instead of Sane? I still prefer Sane. I know he's got a more difficult fixture, but I still prefer him. He's got more attacking threat. Salah or Modric? Definitely go Salah. Phonetic here. I only have 2 players that are playing today and they're both defenders. Yeah, I think that's going to be a problem that a lot of people have actually, is most of the players playing on the 15th, because a lot of people have double or triple Man City and PSG, which is already a lot of players used up, plus Real Madrid players. So, yeah, maybe instead of going, because I do like Theo Hernandez as an option, maybe instead of going Carvajal, we go for Hernandez, just to avoid the double up around Madrid. And of course, both Carvajal and Hernandez do have good attacking potential, so maybe we do that. That could be a better way of, kind of spreading out the defenses that we've got. And then I think with like that way, we get Hernandez in and we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players playing on the 14th. So if 3 out of those 5 players blank, we've got 3 players playing on the 15th to come on. That's fine, yeah. And if Inter don't get a clean sheet, then we bring on Courtois. If Inter do get a clean sheet, then I think we leave Courtois on the bench. I think that's probably the best strategy. And then the 4 outfield players playing on the 14th, we've got 3 players that can come off the bench as well. So I'm pretty happy with that. It's kind of always a problem with the limitless chip. The starting 11 is always so strong that it can be the case where a lot of players do return, and then the players on your bench you can't bring on because you've already got returns on the field, and you have to run that risk. Captain Lautaro Martinez, yeah, I really like that option as well. I think he could get some goals. He's playing on the first day. If you've got him in the side, I think he's a good captaincy pick for sure. Is he? He should be a... well, it's going to be tough for him to fit into our team. Since he is a forward, so... I mean, I probably wouldn't want to get rid of Haaland, Mbappe, or Neymar for Martinez, but yeah, I can see why people are going for him. I do have Onana and Courtois, but the only 3 players for the 14th for me are Perisic, Sane, and Salah, and I'm banking to sub on Hakimi, Haaland, and Sterling. Yeah, that's tough. That's another thing to make sure, have the players that you think are going to score the highest on the field as well, just because the substitutions can get tricky. So for me in this case, I guess Sterling is, out of all the players in the starting 11 right now that are playing on the 15th, I'd probably be least confident in Sterling to get a return. I think Hakimi's nailed on for a clean sheet. So we just confirm this transfer. We'll bring Hakimi on for Sterling. Like that. So I think Hakimi could outscore Sterling, so we'll sort the team out like that. Then it's Sterling, Hernandez, and Vinicius on the bench. Filter that by date. It's a tricky one. Lewandowski or Neymar? I think I'd go for Neymar this week because Lewandowski's got a trickier fixture. Obviously, he did get a hat-trick, but had a very, very good fixture against Victoria Plzen. That's how you say it. But Neymar's got a great one. Maccabi Haifa away this week. Hopefully he can haul. I think most PSG attackers could haul. It could be 4 goals, 5 goals in this one. Luis Diaz or Mane? I'd probably lean towards Mane. If I was actually choosing between Mane and Sane, I would actually go for Leroy Sane, just because he looked a lot more threatening in the first Champions League game. And yeah, I just prefer Sane in general over Mane. Do you think Marseille will get a clean sheet because one of my defenders are from there? Yeah, it's not a bad fixture actually. Against Frankfurt, it's a decent fixture. It's just depending on the strength of that Marseille defence. It's kind of a tough game to call at this stage just because we haven't seen much of Frankfurt in the Champions League. But interesting one. Why Sane as captain? Well, looking at the players on the 14th, we've got Salah there on the 14th, which is a decent captaincy shout. But I'm not massively convinced by his form. Otherwise, Leroy Sane got himself a goal and an assist in his first Champions League game. And he's also got himself 2 goals and 1 assist in the Bundesliga so far. Otherwise, Perisic on the 14th as well. He could chip in with a clean sheet. Trent, I probably wouldn't captain regardless, just because I'm not sure about that Liverpool defence right now. And Onana, I wouldn't captain either, just because I don't like captaining goalkeepers. So I guess the main pick would be between Sane, Salah, and Perisic. Right now, it's on Sane. That's not saying that it's going to finish on Sane. Potentially could be either Salah or Perisic as well. I think Dumfries becomes the best replacement for Perisic if Perisic doesn't start, right? Thankfully, we have lineups 1 hour before deadline. Yeah, that's massive, actually. That's something I'll make sure to check, because it is a bit awkward because we're in Australia. The games are at 2:45 a.m, which essentially means I have to stay up until 1:45 a.m. just to check out the lineups. So it's a bit of a hustle to make sure we check the lineups, but we'll try. I'll try and stay up to 1:45 just so I can see the lineups. Yeah, so as we touched on, Sane and captain could definitely change to either Perisic or Salah. Sterling or Modric, I'd probably go to Sterling. Fixture difficulty is similar. I think maybe Chelsea have the slightly easier fixture against Salzburg compared to Leipzig. And I think Sterling just gets into better goal scoring positions than Modric. I guess if Sane doesn't work, you could captain Mbappe or Neymar the next day. Yeah, exactly right. I think pretty much any of the players that I captain on the first day, I'm probably just going to change it anyway to Mbappe or Neymar or even Haaland. Just because, yeah, the potential of either Haaland, Mbappe or Neymar is just way higher than whatever the players in the 14th are going to get. I think the highest captain score that I'd probably take, it'd be probably 10 points. If they could get 9 or 10 points, I probably wouldn't change my captain, because that would mean that either Haaland, Mbappe, or Neymar would have to score 2 goals in their matches just to score the same points. So 10 points would probably be the colour for my captaincy. But yeah, PSG could score so many goals against Maccabi Haifa, and Dortmund versus Man City. Haaland's just been scoring goals for fun, so he could definitely score a lot as well. This year, pretty same team from mine. Just Diaz instead of Salah, James instead of Trent. That's it. Yep, nice side. Hakimi isn't a guaranteed starter. Mukiele might start as a guy that can rotate. What is worth noting is Hakimi started league game. The chances of him resting increases. That is a good point. Hakimi or Nuno Mendes? Well, assuming that Hakimi starts, I do like the positions that he gets into, but yeah, if you're obviously not on a limitless chip, maybe Nuno Mendes just because he's slightly cheaper. But if we look at PSG's recent sort of fixtures, they had the game against Brest. The lineup did Nuno Mendes. So Nuno Mendes actually got benched. Hakimi did start. That is something to consider as well, actually. I mean, with that taken into consideration, almost guarantees that Nuno Mendes will start. Nuno Mendes came off the bench. Bernat got subbed off. Hakimi, he did play the full 90. That's actually something that key need to consider. So potentially we could actually swap out Hakimi for Nuno Mendes, because I think Nuno Mendes is almost guaranteed to start now. Sane or Mane? I'd probably lean towards Sane. I just like the positions that he gets into a bit more than Sadio Mane, and he looked very good in the first Champions League game. So quickly go to clubs, go to PSG. I think we might swap out. Not Pleasant PSG. We might swap out Hakimi for Nuno Mendes, because I think Nuno Mendes is slightly more likely to start. Both have decent attacking potential. Hakimi probably has slightly more, but I'd take the better chances of lineup. Obviously, we can look at the lineups 1 hour before it starts, so we know who's going to be playing. So it's not too much of a massive concern right now. I got 101 points last week. Nkunku weren't in last week, and I was shocked they did so bad. Took them out, but I was surprised to see them do so well against Dortmund. That's the thing. That's the frustrating thing, right? But this week they do have a trickier fixture, to be fair. I think it's Real Madrid. So, I mean, I can see why you've moved them out. I did like Nkunku as a 1 week punt. We actually had him in our team. If we quickly look back at our match day 1, obviously Lewandowski on captain with 36 points was massive. That kind of saved the game week. We got 93 points, which wasn't the worst. That gives us over a rank of 200k so far to start the season, which is decent. I was very frustrated. I had Hummels in the team. I took out Guerrero from Dortmund right before because I saw he had an injury doubt, and I brought in Hummels because I thought he was more likely to play than Hummels gets benched and Guerrero gets like 13 points. So that's 13 points that we could have got that we didn't. And that's kind of a product of me not being able to step until 1:45 a.m. to check the team news. Otherwise, Bergwijn was good, 8 points, Cancelo 15, Otamendi 9, and Neymar got the assist, and Lewandowski got a massive 36 points, which is good for us. So yeah, decent start to the season. Ramos over Mendes. Mendes had 0 ball recoveries against a tougher opponent. That's something to consider as well, because obviously you do get points for ball recoveries. Yeah, definitely something to consider, take into consideration. I think Mendes probably has higher goal and assist potential just because he gets further up the pitch than Ramos. But yeah, ball recoveries can be very important. I don't think PSG's ball recoveries in this game for the defenders will be massive just because they're going to probably have possession the whole time. So I don't think the defenders are going to get a massive amount of interceptions just because there's not going to be too much attacking from Maccabi. What defender would you put for Real Madrid, not Alaba? I'd probably go for Dani Carvajal because he got benched in the most recent Real Madrid game and he still came off the bench. He got an assist. He got an assist in his first Champions League game as well. And his attacking positioning is very good. He does get pretty high up the pitch. So I do like Dani Carvajal. I think he'd be my favourite Real Madrid defender right now. But this is how the team lines up. We've filtered by date again just so we can see. Obviously, we'll wait for the lineups to come up. If Hakimi is there, we'll go for Hakimi over Mendes. But for now, I'm tossing up whether to change Sane on captain to either Salah or Perisic. It's kind of a tough one there. Otherwise, the bench, Sterling, Hernandez, Vinicius. That's fine. Hopefully, the decision becomes a bit more clear as to which players we do bring off the bench. Thoughts on Tsimikas as an option? Yeah, well, I guess if you're not on Limitless, then Tsimikas is a good pick because he should be pretty cheap. I haven't actually seen his price. We'll go defenders from Liverpool. Obviously, if you're on Limitless, then Trent is better because he has more attacking potential. He can be on those free kicks as well. Tsimikas 4-5. So yeah, if you're not on a Limitless token, then I'd actually take Tsimikas because Robertson was ruled out until the 2nd of October, I believe. So Tsimikas will be getting those starting minutes, which is good to see. So yeah, definitely if you're not on a Limitless, Tsimikas is a great pick. I was actually thinking about him for FPL, but it looks to be that Robertson's going to return in time for when it's Liverpool. Obviously, they're blanking game week 8, and there's the extended break. So yeah, I think Robertson definitely will miss the next game, which will see Tsimikas play, so not a bad option there. Otherwise, yeah, Trent's probably worth spending the extra bit on. If you've got the Limitless, you might as well just go for Trent. So yeah, at the moment I'm pretty happy with this team. Double up around Madrid, triple Man City, triple PSG. Double Liverpool against Ajax, I'm not massively sold on, but they're probably the best team to target on the 14th. In my opinion, just for attackers. Like, you could go for Son or Kane if you wanted to target that Sporting fixture. Probably wouldn't go for Kane just because you have Haaland, you have Mbappe, you have Neymar in the forward line, which is already a very strong full line. I wouldn't necessarily want to target any of those forwards, so maybe you could go for Son in the midfield, but his form in the Prem's not been as good as Salah. You could go for Lautaro Martinez, but that's another attacking slot held up. I probably wouldn't go for any forwards in Leverkusen, Atletico. Leroy Sané I like from Bayern Munich. Lewandowski, probably not massively sold on against Bayern, could be a tough one. And then the Liverpool attackers against Ajax, probably then the next best picks, I suppose. Porto attackers, not massive amount. Marseille, Frankfurt, probably not a massive amount either. How do I see my rank? If you go onto leagues, like this, and then you scroll down, you can see your league. Okay, FPLflare UCL league. We've also got the league code on the screen, so if you want to join our league, feel free. We're currently 83rd in our league. We've actually got a very, very strong league. The highest scoring player in the league, 126 points. I think he's like 800th in the world. Otherwise, then you scroll down here, you got the overall league, 1.5 mil plus players, and you got your rank. Ours, what, 220k roughly. So not bad to start the season. Do we have a good idea when Kyle Walker is back? I guess you can always just wait for the lineups to come up and a little bit before the deadline to see whether he's going to be back for the Champions League or not. In terms of the Premier League, I'll quickly check according to Fantasy Football Fix whether Walker is expected back for Man City for you. He doesn't get massively far forward though. I think Cancelo does offer more attacking potential. He tends to be pretty defensive for a fullback. So the latest comments on Kyle Walker. Pep said, I don't know if Kyle will be ready for Saturday or Dortmund or Wolves after the international break. But Fix do have him at a 100%. Interesting. They've got him at a 100% chance to start this weekend against Wolves. So that's interesting to see. We'll have to see how that goes though. It's kind of tough to call at the minute. Dembele over Sterling based on recent form. Bayern versus Barcelona is almost guaranteed to give lots of goals. Both teams play high in defence. You can... Yeah, I see what you mean. And obviously you're playing on the first day as well, which can be favourable for making those substitutions. I like Leroy Sané in this one. He's probably my favourite attacker in this game personally. Just because if you're looking for Lewandowski, he takes up a valuable forward slot this game week, so probably a bit hesitant on him. Dembele could be a nice one for Barca. Even Ferran Torres maybe. Is Hakimi injured? No, he's not injured, but he did play the full 90 minutes in his most recent game for PSG, and that was just a couple of days ago, so it's the potential that he could get rotated for the Champions League. I was a little bit concerned that he didn't get subbed off early. So maybe, as another one of the other viewers in the stream that discussed, Mukiele could come in and Hakimi could get rested, but we can see when they release the team lineups. For now, Nuno Mendes just sits in the team because he's in a fullback spot. He's going to get good attacking positioning. Ideally, if Hakimi is starting, then he will be going into the team, just because I think he offers more a potential from an attacking standpoint than Nuno Mendes. How do I check historic ranking? I can't retrieve my last season's ranking. I don't think UCL Fantasy actually displays that. It's one of the annoying things with them. It's a very frustrating one. Modric or Rodrigo? Modric is not a bad pick actually because he does offer those ball or recoveries as well. FPL Penguin, mate, welcome to the stream. Good to have you in. Hello, my friend. How you doing? How's the team lining up? Let's have a look at your team. How's your team lining up for Matchday 2? Have you gone for Limitless as well? Because I feel like that is going to be a popular pick amongst most UCL managers. But for now, yeah, I'm pretty happy with this team. There's not too much I would change apart from the captain's armband. Right now, it is on Sane, but whether to go keep it on Sane or go Salah or Perisic, I just think regardless if I captain on the first day, it just is going to change to either Haaland, Mbappe or Neymar. Why can't I change my captain? Is it glitched? I assume it's glitched. I think... Wait, if I just change my captain to Salah. Oh yeah, it's true. It must be... Oh no, yeah. That's all good. Mine changed. Maybe it's just a visual glitch. I'm not sure there. Perisic is a big risk. Sporting are a strong side. The recent run is worth nothing. Always worth noting, sorry. Yeah, that's a good point. But for me, looking at the defenses, looking at the best defenses to target for the first batch of games on day one, the defenses I'll be looking at are Tottenham against Sporting, Inter against Pleasant, and Liverpool against Ajax. They're probably my three favourite defences. And Perisic has got good attacking potential. Got himself an assist in the first game. Tottenham's defence has been very solid recently. That he got himself a clean sheet in the first Champions League match as well. So I think amongst defenders in the first day, he's probably one of the better picks. And I think it's important to have a good balance of players playing on the first day, so you can fully utilise the bench feature of UCL Fantasy. Do you prefer Gosens or Dumfries? Gosens going to play full 90 last Champions League game, but rested at the weekend. Dumfries played 70 in both, I believe. We know what he can do at wingback from the Euros. Yeah, well, to be fair, Gosens playing in a wingback role for Germany does very well as well, and he was pretty solid in the Euros from memory. And I'm a massive fan of Gosens. He's actually one of my favourite players. I've got his Germany kit actually. Massive fan of Gosens. So yeah, I can see Gosens being a good differential because I can see a lot of people going for Dumfries. Obviously, it was immense for Netherlands. And yeah, we know his attacking positioning. I'll check. I'll just have a look, into Milan's most recent game. I'll have a look at the minutes allocation. So yeah, Dumfries did get subbed off early. Damian did play in the left wing back spot. Gosens got subbed on. So there's probably a higher chance that Gosens does play compared to Dumfries. Gosens got subbed on 85th. Yeah, Dumfries, as you said, got subbed off around 70. So, I mean, that is pretty early to get subbed off. So there is the potential that he does play again. I would expect both to start, in my opinion. I think both Dumfries and Gosens will start. I think those would be the starting fullbacks for Inter Milan. So it kind of just comes down to who you prefer between them. But I think both are very good. It's glitch. You need to change the players until you get the player you want to be captain. Right, okay, interesting. Theo Hernandez or Dumfries. Two very good picks, actually. Dumfries is appealing because he's playing on the first day. Very good fixture. As far as the defensive difficulty goes of both of the fixtures, it's pretty similar. Milan against Dinamo Zagreb and then into away to Victoria. It's very similar defensive difficulty. We've already got that Inter Milan defense checked off with Onana. If we didn't have Onana, then I'd probably go for Dumfries over Hernandez, to be honest. That's what I'd say. Thoughts on Rafael Leao? Yeah, he's been in immense form for AC and could be a very good differential, actually. Great fixture against Dinamo Zagreb at home. He's been superb. Was one of the best players in the Serie A last season, and he's continued the form this season. So yeah, the only thing is, though, he does take up a very important forward slot, which can be frustrating, considering that there's a lot of good forward options with, Haaland, Mbappe, Neymar, who are three very good picks for this week. Haaland scoring tons of goals, and then the PSG boys have got a great fixture. So if you think Rafael Leao cannot score one of those front three, who I think should do very well, then yeah, go for him. Thoughts on Højbjerg from Tottenham? He got 8 points first match day. He does chip in. He gets lots of ball recoveries. I'll check his points allocation. He obviously doesn't have a massive attacking output, as we've seen in the Premier League. He only got 5 score involvements across the entirety of last season. Actually, I was looking at that recently. He actually did get himself an assist in his first Champions League game. 6 balls recovered as well, which is good. I think against Sporting, I'd still expect him to hold much of the ball. I don't see him getting too many more goals or assists, to be honest. So maybe not, especially if you're on a limitless 5.5, for Højbjerg. I don't think it's worth it. He doesn't get that many goals and assists. So I think, you can say it is a bit rare that he got the assist in his first Champions League game. If you aren't on a limitless, though, then not a bad pick, so you can get those ball recoveries there. Neymar and Mbappe both, won't they be rotated? I think they will play. We can see the PSG lineup when it gets released, but I wouldn't expect it to be a massive amount of rotation. In the most recent game, Messi, Mbappe, Neymar was the front three. Mbappe and Neymar both did get subbed off early. Messi played the full 90 minutes, which is interesting. So, I mean, if anything, that hints towards maybe Messi getting rested based on the amount of minutes, but that's even tough to call. Mbappe played 78 minutes. Neymar played 78 minutes as well, so came off a little bit early. I mean, I just don't see many PSG replacements that are going to start ahead of him, to be honest. I still think it'll be the same front three: Mbappe, Neymar, Messi, to be honest. I'm tempted by Marseille wing-back against Frankfurt. I feel like one of them could do really well. Yeah, something to consider. Potentially a good differential defence to target. Marseille have got a good fixture. Frankfurt at home. A lot of people are looking at Tottenham, Inter and Liverpool defenders for the first day. But yeah, Marseille against Frankfurt could be worthwhile considering. Marseille's defence didn't look too bad against Tottenham. I wish they did concede the 2 goals, but looked solid for the majority of the 90s. So, yeah, it's something to consider, yeah. Dumfries, second highest priced defender in Fantasy Serie A. Interesting, I don't play Fantasy Serie A. Reece James, yeah, could be one to target, except I'm just not sure about that Chelsea defence. If you look at the defenders here, we'll change that to date. On the defenders playing on the 15th, it's Nuno Mendes for PSG. There could be Hakimi if he gets announced in the squad. I prefer a PSG defender for an easier fixture. João Cancelo, I prefer. Dortmund at home is a good fixture, and Manchester City's defence is better than Chelsea's. And then Theo Hernandez, Dinamo Zagreb at home is probably slightly easier than Salzburg at home, and here it does offer good attacking potential. I'm just not too sure about that Chelsea defence. It has been a bit dodgy. Obviously, there's a new manager in, so I'm not sure how the team's going to set up. There's a bit of uncertainty around those Chelsea lads. We did have Chilwell and Reece James kind of in the squad throughout the week, but just recently we've decided to get rid of them and go for Theo Hernandez, Cancelo, Mendes, Trent, Perisic as the defenders. I can see the temptation though, because Reece James does have a good attacking threat, but I'm just not sold on that Chelsea defence right now. Diaz or Salah, if you're on a limitless, I'd probably go for Salah because he's on pens. Casual FPL, hey bro. Salah captain the way they're playing. Yeah, it's been a common question actually, our captaincy right now. We had it on Sane, it's on Salah at the moment. It could go to Perisic. Personally, I'm most happy with it on Sane just because of his form. His form has been a little bit better than Salah. Got himself a goal and an assist in his most recent Champs game. Barcelona at home, it's a tricky fixture, but I think, as discussed, there could be some goals in this one. Also, Casual FPL, great upcoming FPL YouTuber if anyone wants to check him out. Some very, very solid content on there. Thoughts on Francisco Trincao? Yeah, not a bad option. I saw a lot of him, obviously, because we're a Wolves fan, so I've seen a lot of him at Wolves. I'm not a massive fan of him personally. I don't think he's a very good player. Bayern defense, it's a strong defense, so probably not. I'm from Israel, mate. That's awesome. Haifa predicts PSG will start with the strongest lineup. I think PSG should have a pretty strong lineup too. They should sweat the Champions League. I think Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi will all start. Trent, isn't he risky? Yeah, definitely there is an element of risk associated with Trent, but the good thing is with him, he plays on the 14th, and I think we're lacking players playing on the 14th right now, so that's why he's in the side. I mean, still, he's got good attacking potential. Liverpool's defence obviously been a bit dodgy so far this season, but the attacking threat's always there from Trent, so hopefully, at home, Ajax at home at Anfield, Liverpool can kind of sort it out a little bit. I think I'd still prefer Trent to any other defender option on the 14th. We've already got the Tottenham defence covered. We've got the Inter defence covered. I'm not going to go for Leverkusen, Atletico, Bayern or Barca defence. The only other option is maybe a Marseille defender. But obviously Trent's going to get more attacking potential than any Marseille defender, right? Would you choose any Marseille defender like Bailey or Nuno Tavares? I think I'd approach it with caution just because there's an element of risk. I don't think they're going to be very highly owned. So, if one of those other highly owned defenders, such as, the Liverpool Trent, the Man City defenders, Cancelo, or a PSG defender or a Tottenham defender do well, you could kind of struggle. But I do think there's some good differentials there for sure. If you go for a Marseille fullback, there's definitely good potential for a clean sheet against Frankfurt. So if you do back them in, and maybe you don't rate that Liverpool defense, you don't think they're going to do well against Ajax, then I can see probably I'd go for Marseille as the next best defense. I think the best defenses for the first match day would be Tottenham, Liverpool, Inter Milan, and then probably Marseille. Casual FPL, appreciate you, brother. No worries, bro. Is Musiala a good shout? I was looking at him actually at the start of the season. I'll have a look at Bayern's side to see whether he played in the most recent game in the Bundesliga, because that will dictate whether he does get another start for them. He didn't get a start in the last Champions League game. In terms of the last Bundesliga game, he did actually play and score, but got subbed off. So the fact that he did start actually in the most recent game probably tells me that he will not play for the Champions League, especially considering that both Leroy Sané and Sadio Mane got benched for Bayern Munich, which would probably tell me that Tel and Musiala do get taken off, rested for the Bayern Munich Barcelona game. So probably steer clear of Musiala, but I like the thinking as a good differential. What about Sonny? Yeah, definitely another good pick. We were tossing up between maybe him going in instead of Sané or Salah, but for me, Sané's been in good touch for Bayern Munich. Salah, he's not been in his best form, but he's still had better form than Son in the Premier League this season, and he is on penalties, which is important. What are your thoughts about Lautaro Martinez from Inter? Yeah, Lautaro Martinez from Inter. Yeah, massive fan of him. I think he's a very good pick this week. If you've not got Haaland, Mbappe, and Neymar in the forward line, I think Lautaro Martinez or even Rafael Leao could be good differential forwards this week. Personally, I think it's just I'm too much of a fan of Haaland, Mbappe, and Neymar to take one of them out. But yeah, big fan of Lautaro Martinez. I think he could do well. Dembele rotated or not? I'll have a look at Barcelona's most recent La Liga team for you. I doubt he will be. They're playing on the 11th of September against Cadiz. I think Dembele should play, actually. He did get subbed on in that one and actually scored for Barca, so I do think he should start for them. Yeah, I think he should start. Rafinha did start for Barca, so maybe Rafinha gets benched, Ferran Torres starts, maybe Ferran Torres gets benched and Dembele comes on, but I think it's a high chance that Dembele does start for Barcelona. Why do you have Núñez instead of Hakimi? Just because Hakimi played the full 90 in the most recent one for PSG. I think Nuno Mendes probably a higher chance of starting. He got rested in the most recent game for PSG in the Ligue 1, so probably got a high chance of starting in the Champions League, but that can always change because the team lineups do get announced before the deadline, which is very helpful for UCL Fantasy, so we can always just, as we are on the limit list, we can always just bring in Hakimi for Nuno Mendes if Hakimi is starting, because I think if Hakimi plays, he's going to have higher attacking potential than Nuno Mendes. Jay, would you captain Haaland, KDB, or Mbappe? I need to buy one of them. I'd probably either go either Haaland or Mbappe, sorry. And maybe, it's so tough between Haaland and Mbappe. Haaland just gets so many chances. Playing at home is a very good fixture. I'd maybe go just Haaland, even though Mbappe, he's got a slightly easier fixture. Haaland with 10 goals so far this season, Mbappe with 7. There's the potential that, PSG are smoking them, that they do sub off the attacking assets a little bit earlier. They don't play the full 90. So maybe just Haaland. On Limitless, which two should I go for? Salah, Sterling, Dembele. I'd probably go Salah, Sterling. Reported lineups from a top source has stated Dembele, Lewa and Rafinha will start. Perfect. Only dilemma Barcelona is their starts are Alonso/Alba. Yeah. Well, I don't think I'd be going for too many Barcelona defenders. Thanks for that, Dev. I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, so it looks okay. So that means, I'm guessing that would mean that Ferran Torres will get benched if the front three will be Dembele, Lewa, Rafinha. It's just, I was tossing that up between whether it would be Rafinha benched or Torres benched. Get PSG lineups before lockout. We should. I believe the lineups are released before the deadline, because the deadlines are right on when the first game starts, which is very useful, and the team lineups do come out before then. Reece James is a nice option in my opinion. I have him for this week. Yeah, I agree. I think he's another good pick as well. I'm just not too sold on that Chelsea defence right now. It's a good fixture for sure. Salzburg at home is a good fixture. Reece James' attacking potential is no secret. He's very good from an attacking standpoint, but I'm just a little bit more confident in the AC defence against Dinamo Zagreb. That's where I've got Theo Hernandez. And of course, I like the PSG defence against Maccabi Haifa. And Cancelo is coming off 15 points in his first game. Good clean sheet threats. Good clean sheet potential and attacking threat. PSG matches tomorrow. Yeah, my bad. You should, with that being said, you should be able to make transfers though before, depending if it's the first game, which not, unfortunately. You probably won't. Yeah, you probably won't be able to make substitutes before the game. But Zaid, thoughts on Rodrigo? Yeah, a good pick as well, actually. If you're on Limitless, I'd probably lean towards Vinicius from Real Madrid. I think he's such a great option. He's been in really good form for them. Scored in his most recent La Liga game and also scored in his most recent Champions League game. But yeah, that's a good point actually. PSG match being tomorrow. I'm probably just going to take... I could risk it and go for Hakimi and hope that he plays. And even if he doesn't, then we've got a lads coming off the bench. But I'll maybe just go a little bit safer. I know Nuno Mendes is going to start because Bernat started in the Ligue 1. So it means that, Nuno Mendes is almost definitely going to play in the Champions League. Whereas Hakimi did play the full 90 minutes in the most recent Ligue 1 game for PSG. So probably slightly a little bit less likely than Nuno Mendes. Jay, what do you mean before lockout? PSG don't play till tomorrow. Yeah, that's my mistake, yeah. So I forgot they were playing on the second day. But yeah, with that being said, I'd probably take the safer option personally in Nuno Mendes, but I can see why people would go for the risk of Hakimi. Still a good chance to play, even though he did play the full 90 minutes in the most recent Ligue 1 game. But I'm personally going to play it safer because we don't have many players playing on the 14th. So I need to make sure all the players on the 15th are playing. As right, if I do Limitless, now I'm obliged to do Wildcard next. Personally, I think Limitless Game Week 2 Wildcard, Limitless Matchday 2 Wildcard Matchday 3 is the best strategy. Just because after the group stage, you get unlimited transfers. And players do play the same opponent in Matchdays 3 and 4. So if we just look at Nuno Mendes, for example, he's got Benfica in Matchday 3 and 4. So it allows you to target players with a good fixture in Matchday 3 and 4. So you can always wildcard in those players with a good couple of fixtures in a row, which is a good opportunity to do that. So that's why I think, wildcard Matchday 3 is the best opportunity. You target the best players with the best fixtures for the next couple of weeks. And then you pretty much just get another wildcard Matchday 6 anyway to deal with any of the players in your team that have been eliminated from the competition. Use Limitless Round 3. Imagine those games: Bayern, Pleasant, Real Madrid, Shakhtar, City, Copenhagen, Liverpool, Rangers, Juventus, Maccabi, Benfica, PSG, etc. Well, yeah, you can use Limitless then, but you might as well just use Wildcard as well, because that'll just make Wildcard so much better, because you have to verse those teams 2 games in a row. So instead of just using Limitless and only getting, Bayern against Pleasant for 1 game, you can use a Wildcard and get Bayern playing Pleasant back-to-back games. And you don't have to worry about making those transfers after that. So that's just why Wildcard in Matchday 3 is so much better. How many times can you use Limitless Chip? Just once. Australians are in the future with timelines. I was confused about your 14th and 15th reference. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because the game's like 2:45 a.m. on the 14th for us, whereas the rest of Europe, it's like afternoon on the 13th, because Australia's a little bit ahead in time. But yeah, that is definitely very confusing if you're watching from Europe. Kostic, OP defender against Maccabi. Yeah, pretty much anyone that's playing Maccabi, everyone's just going to attack those players that are versing them. So, yeah, pretty much, yeah, any defense that's versing Maccabi, I'm taking the defender from that fixture for sure. So, I mean, yeah. You look at the match day. Can you go across to match day 3? Yeah. So yeah, Bayern will have the double up, 2 fixtures in a row against Victoria. Who has perfect? Yeah. So Juventus has got Maccabi. You probably take a Juventus player, at least one Juventus player, probably at least a defender. PSG, 2 matches in a row against Benfica is probably worthwhile as well. Real Madrid, you could probably go for a double up, if not triple up, against Shakhtar. Man City, definitely a triple up of Man City on a wildcard match day 3 against Copenhagen. That's a compulsory triple up. There's no way you can't go with that triple Man City there. Otherwise, Bayern probably has to be at least a double up, if not a triple up. Porto, Leverkusen would be a good couple of games. Same with Marseille Sporting. Same with Inter Barca. Liverpool versus Rangers, you probably have to go with a Liverpool defender, at least Trent. Rangers did concede 4 goals in their first game, so you could go Salah or Diaz. Obviously, money is now an issue when you go onto the wild card, so it's important there. And Diaz obviously got himself a goal in his most recent one. Ajax, Napoli, they'll play 2 games against each other in a row. Could be a good couple of battles. Frankfurt, Tottenham actually could be worthwhile targeting a Tottenham player as well. Being at home to Frankfurt in matchday 4, I would expect them to perform pretty well in that one. So yeah, definitely some good fixtures to target on a wild card. There's definitely some very favourable matchups. So I think a wild card matchday 3 is a good idea. Do you think Tottenham and Marseille are going to keep a clean sheet? I'd hope so. I really like Tottenham's defence recently, and even if they don't get a clean sheet, Perisic is getting into great positions. We've seen how high those Tottenham fullbacks get in the Premier League, so I would expect Perisic, he's going to most likely play in the Champions League. He's had a good rest. He gets into great positions, got an assist in his first Champs game, so yeah. And then Marseille defence as well. Yeah, interesting one. I think they should do well against Frankfurt. Hopefully they get a clean sheet. Definitely a bit more uncertainty there, but Marseille is a good differential defence to target, for sure. I've already made 2 transfers, but if I make my limitless, will it be reversed? No, so even if you can use unlimited transfers in a game week and then play limitless token, you won't take any hits, and no, the transfers won't be reversed. As long as you play the limitless before the transfer deadline, the transfers won't be reversed, so you're all good. Do you think Liverpool will keep a clean sheet? Personally, I actually don't think they're going to keep a clean sheet. I think Ajax might score in this one, but Trent's attacking potential is too good for me not to have him, unfortunately. And just amongst defenders on the 14th of September, I probably think he's still the best pick. Maybe I could go for Nuno Tavares or something like that from Marseille, or a fullback from Marseille, but I'm just a massive fan of Trent. His attacking potential mostly, and I think playing at Anfield as well hopefully can help out Liverpool a bit. Who is the most likely to score from Liverpool? Luis Diaz. Well, if you base it on expected goals in the Premier League so far, it'd be Mo Salah. So I think I'd say Mo Salah, and especially since he's on penalties as well, it has to be Salah. So he does have the highest expected goals of any Liverpool player in the Prem. He's on the pens. He's got decent positions. He's attempting a lot of assists as well. He's actually attempted the most assists of any player in the Prem. So even if he doesn't score, he could chip in with an assist. So Salah's not a bad pick. Hopefully he can get back to his goal scoring, because we know how good he can be when he's in the best form. Why no Mane instead of Sané? I just slightly prefer Leroy Sané. He got himself a goal and an assist in his most recent Champs game. Mane and Sané actually have exactly the same goal contributions in the Bundesliga as well. Mane's got 3 goals, Sané's got 2 goals, 1 assist. But Sané's done it in the Champions League as well. And I like Sané's positioning. He's cutting inside, getting into some central areas. And I've seen Sané do it before in the Champions League last season. He was very good. So that's why I lean slightly towards Leroy Sané there. I'm on Limitless. Can you suggest any goalkeepers for this week? Well, I think Courtois is probably an essential one. He's probably my favourite pick from the second day. Real Madrid's defence is very strong. Leipzig at home is not the easiest. That's Matchday 3 fixtures. Leipzig at home is not the easiest fixture from a defensive standpoint, but you could maybe go the Milan goalkeeper. I think it's Maignan. That's how you say his name. You could go for him, actually. Otherwise, keepers on the first day, I'd probably go Onana for Inter against Victoria. I think he's an essential keeper for the first day. And then your keeper for the second day, you could go PSG, you could go Donnarumma, but you ideally want triple up PSG in the outfield. In which case, you could go Chelsea goalkeeper, or you could go Real Madrid goalkeeper, or you could go Maignan for AC. Those would be my picks. Any idea of how Potter will line up? I'm not sure, mate. Honestly, I'm not sure at all. We'll have to see. It's going to be very interesting to see, because if I'm assuming if you're watching the stream play FPL as well, and that's going to have a massive impact on how you look at the Chelsea players for FPL as well, like maybe Potter does prefer some players that were previously getting rested by Tuchel. Maybe he's wanting to start some of them in the Champions League or Premier League. We'll also have to see how he rotates his squad. Maybe, Cucurella becomes the starting left back in the Champions League and Chua plays in the Premier League. We'll have to see. There could be some formation change and everything. As I remember, Conte said that Tottenham has a lack of fitness because of postponed EPL games, so I won't be surprised if we see Tottenham concede a goal. Tottenham haven't played for a long time, so I'm sure the fitness should be fine. When was the last Tottenham game? That must have been weeks. I'd expect a full strength squad. Pretty much all the Premier League teams should have just about a full strength squad. The last time they played was the 8th of September. So yeah, over a week ago. So they've still had a full week's rest. The last Premier League game wasn't 4th of September. So it's actually been 10 days since the last Premier League game. They did play in the Champions League on the 8th. But apart from that, it's pretty much a full week's rest. So just pretty much normal stuff. What it would be in between game weeks in the Premier League. So should be okay. Thoughts on Zielinski? Yeah, I do like him actually. Good fixture this week against Rangers, I believe. Not a bad one, yeah. On Limitless, best Tuesday defender excluding Trent. I'd probably say Perisic, to be honest. Very good attacking potential and one of the better fixtures. Otherwise, Dumfries or Gosens. I think Dumfries and Gosens will be the starting fullbacks for Inter. So yeah, probably Perisic, Dumfries or Gosens. That's what I'd say. But since we've got Onana in goals, I'm going to say Perisic just to avoid the double up on Inter. Could increase the risk a little bit. Champions League games at 5 a.m. What a joke. Yeah, it's kind of tough. The first batch of games are at 2:45, which I'll try go to sleep, set an alarm for, and wake up for. And then the 5 a.m. games. 5 a.m. is probably one of the worst times because by the time it finishes at 7 a.m. and you can't really go back to sleep at 7 a.m. So, yeah, definitely not ideal times for us in Australia with the Champions League games, but it is what it is. I mean, to be fair, it's like 12:30 a.m. right now. We're live streaming, so I mean that's just how it is in Australia with the Europe times. Best captain options for the first day, I'd say Perisic, Salah, Leroy Sané. Those are the three players we've got in our team, and those are the three players we're thinking about captaining, so I'd have to recommend them. And then on the second day, I think it'd be between Haaland and Mbappe as my favourite captain picks. I'm probably going to go Haaland as my captain. He scored 10 goals in the Premier League. Mbappe scored 7 goals in 6 games in the Ligue 1. So Haaland's got a slightly better goal record, and he's playing, the Man City side at home. Dortmund is a good fixture. Yes, PSG have a good fixture, but if PSG start smacking them, I'm not sure if Mbappe is going to play a full 90-minute game. He could, come off 70th, 75th. So hopefully that would mean Haaland has a slightly higher chance of returns. But yeah, I think regardless of how the players go on the 14th, it's almost confirmed that I'm going to change captain to either Haaland or Mbappe on the 15th, just because they've got such good fixtures. Hakimi or Mendes? Hakimi did play the full 90 minutes in the most recent game for PSG, so there is the potential that he gets rotated in the Champions League, whereas Mendes got rested, so I think he should have a higher chance of starting in the Champions League. That's why we've just gone with Mendes, just because I think it's a slightly more secure option. But if Hakimi does play, he's probably got higher attacking potential. Cuadrado, yeah. Juve got a good fixture this week. Benfica at home, yeah. Gets into good position, so one to consider as well on the second day. Personally, there is a lot of good defences going around in the second day. Definitely more defensive assets to go for on the second day. I think the Milan defence against Dinamo Zagreb's good. Chelsea defence against Salzburg's good. Real Madrid defence against Leipzig's not bad either. Juventus defence against Benfica's good. I think I'd probably have Cancelo. You'd have to have Cancelo in there, and then a PSG defender as well is almost essential. Pretty much Cancelo and a PSG defender are essential, and then it's pretty much just whether you go for, a Reece James, maybe you go for a Carvajal from Real Madrid, or like I should go for Theo Hernandez from AC, or yeah, as this man said, you can go for Cuadrado from Benfica. I'm going captain Salah, yeah, good pick as well. I'm tossing up between, Sané, Salah, Perisic. Probably maybe just not Perisic. I'd probably prefer Sané or Salah just a little bit more, so it'd be toss up between them. I mean, Sané's got a tougher fixture, but he's in good form. Salah's got the easier fixture. He is playing at home as well, which is helpful. I mean, we know what Salah can do in the past. Maybe we just go Salah. But, yeah, as I said, I'm most likely going to change the captain anyway. I'm thinking about who to make captain all week, yeah. I mean, I don't really think it's going to matter much who you captain on the 14th, as I've said before, just because almost guaranteed you're going to change the captain to a Man City or PSG player on the 15th. What about Nkunku? Leipzig beat Dortmund 3-0. Yeah. Yep. And it's a tough fixture this week, to be fair. I think they've got Real Madrid, so it's a tough one. Real Madrid have got very strong defence, and I've really liked how Leipzig set up in that game. They've played very well. And Nkunku and Werner looked very involved, which was nice to see. But yeah, I think Nkunku could be one to consider. If you look at the Matchday 3 fixture for Leipzig, They got Celtics, so that's actually a good option if you're on a wild card in Matchday 3. You can go for maybe Nkunku and Werner. They got 2 matches in a row against Celtic. Good chance to capitalise on their attack maybe, and there should be good differential options. So yeah, I like the thinking. Probably for Matchday 3, maybe not Matchday 2. But yeah, Matchday 3 and onwards, those lads, definitely nice options. Was Valverde a good choice? Yeah, he's been very solid for Real Madrid. I think he actually got himself a goal in his most recent game. It just depends whether he starts in the Champions League or not. I think he's a very good player, actually. We'll see what the minutes allocation was like for Real Madrid in their most recent one. 4-1 against Mallorca. Yeah. Lineups. Valverde did play the full 90, so yeah, Modric did get rested for that one, so it just depends whether Modric comes in for Valverde, Ceballos. They've also got Marco Asensio there as well, Tchouameni. So a couple of good players on the bench that could come on. Personally, it's kind of tough to say whether he's going to start in the Champions League. I'd probably be leaning towards Slay Knots in the first Champs game. He didn't start either in the first Champs. Oh no, he did start in the first Champs game actually. Potentially, I think he get rotated though since he played last Champions League game and his most recent La Liga game. I'm not sure if he can play again. Valverde plays right wing. Yeah, it just depends if Marco Asensio's there. He's been playing a lot of football, to be fair, Valverde, so yeah. But it depends, yeah, as well if Real Madrid switch up formation. They can play Rodrigo, Vinny as well, of course. They've got a few wing options. And I think Benzema should be back. But I'd probably just stay clear of Valverde, personally. If I was to go for Real Madrid attacker, it'd probably be Vinicius or Rodrigo, if I had to pick between. If you're on a limit list, I'd definitely go for Vinicius. He's scoring lots of goals. He's got himself a goal in his most recent La Liga game, and he did score in his most recent Champions League game, and that does create a lot of chances for his teammates as well. So I think Vinicius is probably my favourite Real Madrid attacker right now. Benzema's a good one as well, but he is taking up a valuable forward slot, although there is a couple of other good forwards going around in Champions League fantasy right now. That's pretty much all we've got to discuss for today. Thanks so much for everyone that has tuned into the stream. If we couldn't get to any of your questions on stream, don't forget to send us a message on either Twitter or Instagram. We'll try and get to it before the deadline. If everyone did enjoy the stream, then leave a like and also subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. Yeah, it's really good if you want to see more content. There's going to be more Champions League content coming your way. There's going to be team selections for pretty much every match day, and of course there's going to be more FPL content coming out shortly. There's going to be knee-jerk reaction, buy, hold, sell, team selections. We're probably going to activate wildcard and FPL as well, so something to look out for. So yeah, once again, if you did enjoy the stream and you found it useful, leave a like and also subscribe. That'd be awesome. Just answering a couple more questions to end the stream. Is Benzema fit? I think he should be good to go for the Champions League. Valverde scored a fantastic goal against Mallorca, but you can never predict that course. Eventually, his rotation plan corrects. You should wait for lineups because Ndanovic just had a good game last week. Yeah, there is the potential that he plays over Onana, actually. That's good. That's good. Good point. Something to consider. But yeah, we should be able to just wait for the lineups and then see and go from there. But yeah, once again, thanks to everyone that has tuned into the stream. As we said, you can always drop a like on the stream if you found it useful, and subscribe, as it really does help the channel, pushes the videos out to more people, and it's a great way of showing some support. So yeah, thanks to everyone that has tuned into the stream. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.